First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahshai, Ba'Hashem Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And shout out to Joachim that's out there on the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. As this is a follow-up to a video I put up yesterday when I didn't have as much information before it started taking off. But you know, I had told everyone that had watched the video pretty much that the United States is now supporting the what a new terrorist group called the Syrian Democratic Forces, which is another terrorist group, but in order to make it look like it's good, what they do is they also bomb so-called ISIS targets. So just like the coalition in 2013, or was it 2014, 2015, when Barack Obama had led, which is really, he's the holding company, but anyhow, the United States had led attacks on the Assad government, but just called it fighting ISIS. Same thing here with the Syrian Democratic Forces, you know, proclaiming that they're going after terrorist sites, but really, truly, they're going after government sites. U.S.-led strike hits government targets in Syria, in other words, the Assad government, from the state media. U.S.-led coalition warplanes have bombed several Syrian Arab Army positions in eastern Syrian province of Deir Hazor. State media Syrian Arab News Agency reports, citing a military source. The attack took place shortly after midnight on Thursday. Syrian Arab News Agency reported that the U.S.-led coalition aircraft inflicted limited material damages and no casualties. The airstrikes, which hit the city of al-Bakama, were reportedly coordinated with anti-government militants. That's what you call your Syrian Democratic Forces. Earlier, Lebanon's Hezbollah group, an ally of the Syrian forces, in the fight against Israeli State, aka Islamic State, ISIL, said the coalition jets targeted two Syrian Arab Army outposts, including an energy installation near the Iraqi border. So again, you know, they're helping to keep the terrorists. The area has seen rapid forces advance by the U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces, pushing against IS militants near al-Bakami and moving toward the eastern bank of the Euphrates River. You see what I'm talking about here? How they will guise it that, oh, well, we're fighting ISIS, so that's why we're in there, you know, so Russia can't say anything about it, right? Last week, the Syrian Democratic Forces announced they took control over a former ISIS base on the Euphrates River near the Syrian-Iraqi border, moving closer to the territory controlled by the Syrian government. So, again, you know, this is all about supporting the terrorists. All right, and I have video of this, so I'm going to pull that up. All right, keep in mind that this is the Valley Yehoshaphat. And here's another article in Venezuela. You know that those are our people. Venezuela expels top U.S. diplomat for conspiring against government. So, you know, they've been, Venezuela's where Hugo Chavez originally came from. And he was, believe it or not, an ally with Syria. Isn't that interesting? You know, he was good friends with Bashar al-Assad, you know. And, well, what did the United States do? They poisoned him. The CIA poisoned him. And next thing you know, you find out that he had cancer, and Hugo Chavez died. And so the United States has been trying to control the government, but, they don't want the United States there anymore. They're sick of it. The top U.S. diplomat in Caracas, Venezuela, and his deputy have been ordered to leave the country after allegedly conspiring against the government, President Nicolas Maduro announced. I have declared him persona non grata, and I announced the exit of the U.S. charge d'affaires in 48 hours, Maduro said on Tuesday, referring to Todd Robinson. His deputy, Brian Najaro, was also expelled. So, you see, people are sick of the goddamn American bullshit. They want the whore, Babylon the Great, out. Okay, and I have video to follow this one up. I genuinely hate CNN with a fucking passion, but, okay, this is the only one I can pull up about this. Blue flames joined the lava light show on Hawaii during Kilauea eruption. People around the world have been transfixed by images of red and orange lava fountains oozing out of volcano vents on Hawaii's Big Island. Now a new color has joined the mix, the blue flames of burning methane gas. So here's some of it right there. And we're going to pull the video up. Alright, let me pull that video up. Alright, Bragatha, I just, again, this is not the blue lava, but this is still what's going on over here, if you've been following this. Okay, well, shit. Obviously there's no sound on this one, but, this is some of the other images, from over there, oftentimes, Yahweh Shai told us that, there'd be earthquakes in diverse places, famines, pestilences, you know the scripture pretty well. But volcanoes are definitely a part of that, and so, this is just more proof, when you take a look, because, again, this is blowing out gas, so pretty much, we have a camp there, and so we definitely want to make sure that our brothers are safe, because there is methane gas in the air, and so, but like everything else, though, we also have faith that Yahweh B'Hashem Yahshai B'Hashem Rakal Kadash is going to protect our people, because we're doing what is asked of us. Shalom. Okay, and here's another article. Iran fully ready to restore past nuclear activities if JCPOA not fully preserved. And so, what's happening, though, is, you already know that a lot of these places are like, well, we're bigger allies with the United States than we are with, Iran, so we don't want to jeopardize it. The Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, AEOI, says Tehran is totally prepared to resume its previous nuclear activities if the 2015 deal with the P5+1 group of countries is not fully preserved. We can say that we have everything in order if we want to go back to the activities we had before. Behrouz Kamalvandi, the spokesman for the AEOI, said in a press TV interview, part of which was released on Wednesday. And so, of course, that's what they had wanted, because, of course, Benjamin, not a Jew, said that Iran lied. Okay, here's more. U.S.-backed forces allegedly attacked civilians for raising Syrian flag in Raqqa. The red and black flag with two green stars is their flag. That is their national flag. All these other flags are not their flags. So what's wrong with their proclamation? But this is what the United States does, because the United States only recognizes one flag, theirs. And so, they have taken control of the Middle East, And, of course, they back the terrorists. The U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic forces attacked a number of villages in al-Raqqa countryside on Thursday after the residents raised the flag of the Syrian Arab Republic, Fars News alleged. According to the Fars News report, the Syrian Defense Forces attacked the village, the Syrian Democratic Forces, which is another terrorist proxy of the United States, attacked the villages of Kadaran, al-Sarat, al-Jarat, al-Shif, and in western al-Raqqa. Sorry, I can't pronounce those names. The Syrian Democratic Forces also detained a large number of civilians during the raids and seized the cell phones of most of the young people in the villages of Fate, the Fars News report added. Meanwhile, reports from the city of Al-Tuqa alleged the tens of young residents protested forced conscription into the Syrian Democratic Forces. Again, what's happening is just like how they started this war to begin with. You know, they've changed the name from Free Syrian Army to Syrian Democratic Forces. U.S., and this is coming from Iran, U.S. will end up like Saddam Hussein if it attacks Iran Revolutionary Guards. You know, so pretty much they're ready. They're ready to go to war with the whore. If the U.S. tries to invade Iran, it will face the same fate that the government of Saddam Hussein did when it launched a war against the Islamic Republic. Iran's powerful Revolutionary Guards said in a statement. Yeah, exactly. 8 years and Saddam Hussein could not bring down Iran, which is why they overthrew Saddam Hussein to begin with, because he couldn't get the job done. U.S. tries to bully the world into attacking Iran. That's what's going on now. AKA, the so-called Amalekite. Well, they are the Amalekites, but, the so-called Jews. Because that's who really runs America, the deep state. Missile fire is seen from Damascus on May 10, 2018. America's conduct towards Iran demonstrates just how much of a bully the U.S. government is, that anything short of bending 100% to America's agenda will eventually result in punishment and war. And so you can see that, with all these threats against the EU, or anybody who trades with Iran, right? Is going to face sanctions and maybe even invasions. End of unipolar world. New world order evolves in response to U.S. demands on Iran. AKA, this is the beast turning against the whore. If Mike Pompeo's ultimatum to Iran after U.S. withdrawal from the Iranian nuclear deal was fulfilling, it would inflict economic warfare on the country and set up Tehran for failure while reasserting a U.S. unipolar world order. However, it is doomed to fail, as Iranian President Hassan Rouhani pointed out following the U.S. Secretary of State's declaration mirroring the views of Donald Trump, new National Security Advisor John Bolton. The era when the U.S. will decide for the world is over. So in other words, they're saying that the United States is no longer the superpower that, they now have some backbone. Yes, because we know that Russia's becoming that superpower, and we can see it then. Magog has been a shield unto them, and so we're just going to bring that out, if I got a few minutes here, I'll just bring that out, Ezekiel 38. Hold on. So what's happening, of course, is that all these countries are coming together because they now have a guard. They have a protector. So Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 7. Prepare yourself and be ready, you and all your companies that gathered about you, and be a guard for them. In other words, the Russian protection, And it ain't just the systems like the S-300, S-400, and the S-500, but pretty much, Russia's protecting this area. After many days, you will be visited. Visited can mean in the line of war, because you can see all these armies are now attacking, so you will be visited. In the latter years, you will come into the land that those brought back from the sword and gathered from many people on the mountains of Israel, which had long been desolate. They were brought out of the nations, and now all of them dwell safely. Of course, it's talking about Ashdod. You will send, coming like a storm, covering the land like a cloud. You and all your troops and many people with you. So, in other words,